Hello everyone, and thank you for welcome back to my channel. Today I am discussing a very interesting topic, and it will be super interesting to people who considering purchasing a house in Minnesota or who already in the process. And I'm Lana Kalinowski with Edina Realty, your local realtor. And today I invite Zach Gustafson. He is local inspector with his Zach Home Inspection company. And thank you, Zach, for joining us today. And we have a lot of questions to ask you. Zach,
Thanks for having me.
thank you. Could you please tell what the most interesting issues you meeting every week when you're expecting homes in Minnesota?
I think it's just the vast variety of seasons that we have. Homes in Minnesota have to be built to withstand 20 below, which we felt a couple weeks ago, and 100 above in our hot summers. And so there's just a wide range that they have to be designed and built for. Any given week, the challenges are what is the weather for the given day? Is it a snowstorm? Is it raining? Is it clear? Some of those make my job easier to do the inspection or harder to do the inspection. But some of the things that make doing an inspection harder actually can sometimes tell us more information about the house. If we've had a big rainstorm the night before an inspection, or if we have a lot of snow or snow melt or whatever. So bottom line is there's always information gained from the inspection, no matter what the season is.
All right, yeah. Someone who is not aware of our weather, they need to survive at least one winter, and then they will know better. What would you recommend the buyers to know even prior schedule an inspection?
I think the biggest thing is just that inspections are designed to tell you as much information as possible about your possible purchase. And there will be things, even in new homes and new inspections, new construction, there are going to be call-outs. And that is our job. My job as an inspector to find every little thing from caulking needed at a sink to big ticket items of roof issues or foundation issues. And that list can be a little bit overwhelming if you just look at the quantity at times. A normal home can have anywhere from 20 to 40 callouts, and it's not necessarily a bad home. There's just some maintenance needed in it, and it's what are those callouts and that. So I think it's just in general understanding the process is designed for you to gain as much information as possible. But sometimes that can be a little overwhelming when you get, if you do have a number of callouts in a report.
What would you call people usually think that it's super scare, but you will say that it's not scare because it's normal for Minnesota climate?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I think about with that question is just the typical cracking, we'll say. Again, with the change in seasons, some minor cracking in the garage floor, some minor cracking in a concrete foundation. The taping and mudding, the seams and vaulted ceilings, minor cracking there. That is, again, relatively common in Minnesota homes, and usually does not mean that there's anything structurally going on with the house. It's just from the freeze and thaw season and things moving. And again, across the seasons we have, some of those things can pop up. So.
All right, I understand that it's a lot of findings can be found during inspection, but what you will call like a red flags that buyers would never ever should miss?
Yeah, I think the biggest things when we talk about red flags, we're talking about like a roof that needs replacement because it is failing, whether there's shingles missing or there's been damage to a roof. And again, that's found by getting on the roof. My inspection process, I get on the roof whenever able, as long as it's safe for me and the slope is all right and it's not pouring rain or full of snow on the roof and ice, that kind of thing. So getting on the roof, but then also inspecting the attic from the interior of the home to see both sides, look at any structural issues with the roof. Foundational issues, if every once in a while we'll run into a home where there's a pretty good bow in the foundation wall, and or a major repair has been done. So conversely, if a major repair has been done with a steel bar pulling or modifying a foundation wall to support it, I mean, that was done by a structural engineer. So that in of itself isn't a red flag. It was before, but it was fixed properly. So roof, foundation, Windows, if all the windows are really bad, that can be a challenge because that's going to be expensive at some point to replace. Siding, again, if we have a stucco home that has what appears to be moisture intrusion or multiple cracks, or wood siding that has seen its better days, been painted over and over and over, and you're getting close to possibly having to replace, those things can all be a substantial investment in the home. Um, Past all those things, I think furnace and AC are similar, but not quite there. Like if you have an old furnace and AC, if they're functioning, you just have to have a plan for it, whether that be a home warranty to start out, covering with a home service plus type plan, saving for a rainy day, continuing to maintain, but at least making sure they're functioning to start, but then having a plan for that, and appliances and mechanicals and things when they're older too.
Okay, thank you for explanation. So if we will talk about the process, inspection process, and it's so many different kinds of inspections exist, what kind of inspection would you recommend to do if buyers should schedule like so many inspection, everything what possible, or start somewhere and then to make a decision for future inspections?
Yeah, ultimately, my first recommendation is just to have an inspection. We went through a period of time in the market where inspections were getting waived, and that would have made me pretty nervous, as a prospective buyer myself. But again, that's my business, so I should say that. Just having an inspection first and foremost. It's called a general home inspection. It is a non-intrusive inspection that I do, looking at everything from foundation to roof to attic to siding, open and closing doors, windows, run all plumbing fixtures, run all appliances, look for smoke detectors, CO detectors, test those, opening doors, windows, taking electrical panels, covers off. So that general inspection, is the baseline for it. And then there's add-ons depending on age of home and where the home is. Can do a radon test, can have a sewer scope done. You can do mold testing, chimney inspection, well water yield. So there's a number of different add-ons too. But ultimately the most important one is that general inspection. And then, all those add-ons are things that, we, being in the field, can talk through looking at a property and recommending in certain situations or not. Ultimately, in a perfect world, if money is not an issue, doing them all is the best. You're going to get the most information and know the most, but that's not always feasible. So.
Okay, so we start to talk about the money. So how much, I understand that prices are changing, but for people to understand how much like general home inspection cost, again, approximately, because I know that it's varied from inspection company to inspection company, but could you please give like generic understanding on pricing?
Yeah, the general home inspection, depending on type of home, condo, single family, townhome, and size of home. But starting out pricing is between $300 and $400.
Okay.
That gets you through townhomes, condos, and up to 3,000 square feet, finished square feet for my pricing. We start getting into bigger homes, then the price can go up. All of the add-ons, sewer, chimney, radon, mold, most of them, sewer and chimney, a couple $100, $200. Sewer and radon, $200. Chimney, $250. Mold is a little bit more because you have to send the packets in. Send the pucks in, for the sampling and that. So that's $350, something like that. So, all varying. I've kept pricing. I feel like I'm competitive. I'm not the cheapest and I'm not the highest. I'm somewhere in between. So.
Thank you. Thank you for letting know the prices. And you mentioned inspection of condos, townhouses, houses. Is any difference between inspecting different kind of property?
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing is like with the townhome or condo, making sure, and this is where you come in on it. You come in with the homeowners association and those documents. With the townhome and condo, there's certain things that aren't your responsibility that you're paying, your homeowners association monthly, fees for. In a single family home, it's all yours. Period. Right. I think that's the big thing. The interior of the home or the unit, whether it's a townhome, condo, or house, a single family home doesn't change from my perspective. I'll still do the exterior for townhomes and that, even though some of that may not fall directly on the owner's plate. And then condos, it really is what is in the unit, because a lot of times condos, the heating and the cooling is supplied by the building, or the water is supplied by the building, or whatever. So there's a little bit less that falls on the owner. But again, you pay for that in your fees and dues. So.
Okay, so it sounds it's a lot of work. So time-wise, how long is inspection taken?
Yeah, process. I plan for townhomes and condos. I plan for an hour and a half. An hour and a half is my time to get there, do the full inspection, and then be ready for the buyer to come for the walkthrough with the realtor or no realtor. Everybody's a little bit different in how that works out there. But that walkthrough portion is really the most important piece to me, because it's a time I like to call it a more in-depth showing. And you as a buyer show up for the last hour, scheduled for an hour, usually takes more around 45 minutes, and we're going to walk through all those recommendations and comments that are in the report. You don't have to write anything down. It's all going to be in the report that you'll get published shortly after we're done with the walkthrough. But it's a more in-depth showing that just shows you things about the house, where the water shutoffs are, the gas shutoffs are. There's a recommendation of here to fix this sink over here, or put a smoke detector here, and we walk through and show all those things, so that it's not just the report. So then when you go see the report, it's just a reminder of what we talked about and documented. So the process itself, 2.5 hours scheduled for, usually for townhomes, condos, 3 for single family homes. And then again, when we get bigger homes, it can go up a little bit more.
Okay, cool. I'm always attending with my clients to the end of the inspection, because to me, I know how nervous and stressful for them it might be. And if the people purchasing like their very first home, or they did not sell a purchase home long time, it's still very stressful. To me, it's like an appointment to the doctor. You need to be present when your clients to getting good or bad news and looking for some support and solution. So during this last hour of inspection, what questions you expecting from the buyer? So if it's any generic questions or specific questions, something that much more repeatable.
Yeah, that's a wide range. I think that's just that's really depends on the type of person that the buyer is. Some people are very detail orientated and get specific questions of how do I fix that, or what would you suggest in this, or why don't I have an exhaust fan here? Should I really be putting one in? When is my furnace going to fail? When is when do I have to replace things? I mean, those questions come up and I can't answer that. I mean, what I'm doing again is a snapshot in time of when I'm on the property, what is working or not working. There's general industry standards and averages for those, how long mechanicals and appliances and all that stuff will work. But yeah, there's questions that are asked that you or I don't have an answer for. So I can understand how nerve-wracking that can be, because it's not a definitive, here you go, your house is going to work perfectly for 2 years and you're not going to have to do anything. I mean, that's never there. And again, even there's been times where, we do an inspection and there's, there wasn't a leaky sink, and then someone moves in and the sink was leaking. And things can happen in between those periods of time and change from when I was there to when the sellers move out, or if it was vacant and all that kind of stuff. So there's just a lot of variables. So I think it's just, again, for me, it's just being open and honest and answering all those questions, whatever they may be, small to big. Most of the time it's just buyer and immediate family or buyers with realtor. Sometimes we get parents and in-laws there, which will lead to more questions because they're being protective of their children. And again, that's part of the process, and that's good, because sometimes first-time home buyers don't know what to ask, and so if their parents are with, that really gets more information out there too. So
if it's making more pressure for you to finish the inspection.
I usually know that when dad shows up or father-in-law shows up, we're going to have some more questions one way or another. I think that's a pretty safe bet. So
okay, I'm just trying to joke a little bit here. So let's say after the inspection, you mentioned you sending a written report to your clients, and they, let's say, receiving a report. And I had the situation when my clients were receiving, let's say, 120 pages on the house. And of course, they extremely scared receiving this big report, because they understand that everything doesn't work because it's such a long report. Would you have any recommendation for the buyers how they can handle in such a short and stressful period of time, a lot of information and what they need to pay attention to, how they can understand what need to be repaired or what need to be maintained or what can be realistically negotiable with the sellers?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the negotiable type stuff. That again is really not my job. There's another question that I get asked a lot that I defer to you, because that's not my role. My role is to point out the information that I find, but I try and put it in three categories. Safety categories or non-functioning categories. So like no smoke detectors in the whole house or furnace not working. I mean, those are bigger ticket items to me, or a sink leaking, so like really leaking water coming out of the sink. um, Maintenance items and the kind of the middle tier of maintenance items, maybe, paint chipping on door trim or wood siding or decks or things. And those are maintenance items that should be taken care of sooner than later, because if you push them down the road and postpone, it's only going to possibly cause siding or decks or those wood materials to have to get replaced before you paint them next time. And then there's some of the really general kind of comments of just things that aren't built to new code. They were good for when the house was built, but now there's things that are just they're a little bit older, right?
Yeah, so let's say like very often we can find, if I'm helping to purchase houses in Minneapolis and St. Paul, older houses not have like railing on the stairs to the house. So, and it's like very usual and very common that I can see on reports, and this is totally a buyer decision what they want to do next, because it was no rules by that time and code changed and many other things like this. Do you have any story to share that, I don't know, not super scary for the buyers, for people who are going to be watching us? I don't want them to be confused. Maybe something that you remember from your practice. I know you're inspecting lots of houses every day, but something, that you can share, maybe something bad turns to good.
Yeah, I mean, a couple now funny stories. Not at the time they weren't funny. So I'll give you two quick ones. One was inspecting an attic, had my ladder set up, and I'm, going up in the attic, and I moved the hatch over. And as I moved the hatch, it tipped a little bit, and I felt something hit my back, and I don't think anything of it. I just thought it was building material or a chunk of insulation. Didn't feel that heavy, Get up there and do the inspection, come back down, and there's a bat, laying on my blanket underneath, and it was moving a little bit. So that was one that didn't realize that was kind of woke me up a little bit that day. And the other one, again, not funny at the time, but funny now. Went into a home and saw a pair of Crocs. And as I walked in the door, I had unlocked the door and everything, and I walk in and I'm like, hello, the house is vacant. I'm like, hello. And I'm walking around the corner, and there's somebody that was squatting in the back bedroom of a vacant home. So that was a little, at that time, very scary, freaky. Like, I'm going to go now, walk out the front door lock, and we postponed that inspection. So past that, nothing really, I've seen so much over 10 plus years of it with the regular comments and maintenance items or things working and not working, that it doesn't faze me. And it's, again, trying to explain it to the buyers and you as the realtor of what it all means, and not being honest, but not trying to, overdo it with it or undersell it. Like, I don't want my opinion of how important or not important it is. This is how this should work from a house perspective. I think that's my goal, just to make sure that people really understand what each comment is, and again, just how the house runs in general, more after the inspection's done.
Okay, and one more question. What would you say about new constructions? Because let's say when people purchase a new construction, buyers understand that house is just built and it's completely new. Would you recommend home inspection on new constructions? I mean, from your professional experience.
Yeah, one of two ways to go with it. You can still do a normal inspection at the time, but with a new construction, you're going to get that final walkthrough, punch list, blue tape, whatever you want to call it, where you go through and put marks on all the little cosmetic things or make sure everything runs. So you're getting that, and then you have a warranty, right? And with that warranty, it's usually a year warranty on new construction. So two ways to go about it. General inspection, do it like normal. There's not going to be a lot, but it's another peace of mind. There's usually not a lot. That's another peace of mind that somebody else has come through independently and just ran through everything, tested everything, done everything, just like a 50-year-old home. The other thing is, again, you're through this property so many times with yourself, doing the blue tape walk off or walk through, excuse me, and then punch list items that you can schedule what's called a 10 or 11 month inspection. So wait to do the full inspection through me until a month or two before your warranty's up. Then I can come back again, do a full inspection. And then you have that all in a report, just like it was a regular buyer inspection, to go back to the builder for one last time before that warranty's up, to get everything taken care of that you can.
Okay, great advice. So what would you recommend the buyers? I mean, could you just give them one piece of advice, to people who consider purchasing a home in Minnesota? I don't know, something from your experience.
Bottom line is, it's to get an inspection, number one. Again, this wasn't that long ago that we were dealing with the market being so competitive that people were waiving inspections. So I think number one is getting an inspection done, and then going through everything in the report. Like, I remember the first time I had an inspection done on my house, like, I didn't go to the walkthrough. I asked my realtor, do I need to be there? He's like, no. And so this is 2025, a little while back anyway. So I don't go, I get this, to your point, this big report, don't do anything with it, put it in the desk, don't do anything with it. And then my home gets inspected on the backside when I, sell years later. So I think it's get an inspection, be engaged in the process, come to the walkthrough, so you can use it to fix things and understand your home better from day one. That would be the biggest recommendation I have. Perfect.
It's very useful. And I believe this is what I would recommend my clients as well, because when I, like a buyer of my house, doesn't matter that I am working with my clients every day, I still never know what is inside of those walls and how to fix the problem. So I need the advice of professional people like you about, safety of my house, and someone who will explain how I can manage and figure out those problems. Regarding all this great information that you share with us today, let's say if someone wants to find you, how they can find you to schedule inspection?
Yeah, pretty simple.
Where do you work? I mean, around Twin Cities.
Yeah, I live in Blaine now, but it's just as easy for me to get to St. Cloud as is at Lakeville. So I'm pretty flexible in where I go, and I have a number of realtors that, at certain times are buying cabins, working with their clients to buy cabins and stuff, and from northern Minnesota. So there's really not a place I won't go. It's just a matter of when my schedule will let me go. I'm not scheduled in Wisconsin, I'm not licensed in Wisconsin, so it's Minnesota only. Okay. But yeah, a little bit extra when we start driving a little bit further, but flexible in that. And then easy to get a hold of. Cell phone 763-516-3276, or email zach.inspect@gmail.com. And as you can see, it's the Zach with an H. So
thank you, Zach. Thank you. I appreciate your time today and all the information. Hopefully it will help future buyers or someone who wants to buy again. And thank you for watching us today. Thank you for great advices. Good luck with purchasing houses. And I'm your local realtor, Lana Kalinowski, and Zach Gustafson is number one of inspector who you can choose. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.